And yet neither of those teams are in your NFC Championship game. You do have.
No, I had to fix it to get the Bucks there.
Sure, because that's your Super Bowl winner, correct?
Yeah, I wanted to get the Bucks in there because, Rich, the way I look at it every year is that, I like to take one or two chances when I make these picks every year, and clearly the biggest chance I take this year is Tampa. But I look at it and I say that, is it impossible? We've seen Tom Brady go on the road in the playoffs and win in some unlikely venues a long time ago in Pittsburgh and more recently in Kansas City. I doubt that the road is going to vex him very much. The biggest thing in picking the Bucks is that Brady and Gronk are the only guys who've been there, and Jason Pierre-Paul a little bit, but they don't have much January experience in Tampa. They haven't made the playoffs since Neanderthal man roamed the earth. So I agree. It is a long shot, but I just think sometimes teams get hot at the right time, and I think the Bucks are going to get hot and run the table.
And then beating the Ravens. That's your Super Bowl 55 prediction.
Yeah, the one narrative that is, and it's not going to go away until he plays well in January, but Lamar Jackson, it's arguable that his two worst starts, or two of his worst three or four in the last 2 years, have been in January, both at home in the playoffs, and he's got to play better. But I just think a trend, 2 games do not a trend make. And in my opinion, I think that if it's possible, they might even be better running the ball this year, even without the quarterback running it as much. I do think that even though they say, hey, we're not changing and we're playing the way we play, and if they do, hey, good for them. But I doubt Lamar Jackson getting hit as much as he got hit last year is going to be a really good football player at age 38, the way all these quarterbacks now are. Because I don't know if you can take that kind of punishment running it 100, 130 times a year, the way Lamar Jackson, and they say they're not changing, and hey, they're smarter football people than I am, but I don't know how you really last 15 years or so in the NFL at a high level running the ball that much if you're a quarterback.
And I could go on all day, but I do have one last one for you, Peter, because I'm getting asked the question, because I did, like you, take Seattle to win the division in the NFC West, and then I do have the Chiefs winning their division, but not making the Super Bowl like you. So what are your scenarios as to why neither of these teams could make it back? How does that work?
With Kansas City, the last 15 Super Bowl champions have not won the Super Bowl the next year. And, Rich, I asked Andy Reid in training camp, man, you got 20 of 22 starters back. You got 20 of 21 coaches back. This is one of the greatest pieces of continuity of a champion in NFL history. And one of the first things he said to me was, listen, we're behind in all 3 playoff games. I mean, you saw it. They were behind by 24 to Houston, 10 to Tennessee, and 10 with 8 minutes left to San Francisco. So I think they're a really good team. And maybe this is the start of a dynasty. They certainly have the quarterback for it. But, they're from the show me state, and they'll have to show me on that one. Something happens. I can't tell you what it is, but something happens every year to the champion. As far as San Francisco goes, look, I would not be remotely surprised if the 49ers had a 13-3 type year and got the top seed and were fantastic again. But if that happens, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a much better September, October, November than he had January last year, and January and early February. And again, at this point, at this moment, I trust Russell Wilson more than I trust Jimmy Garoppolo. But, Seattle doesn't have nearly the defense that San Francisco has. So Russell Wilson is going to have to play and win some high-scoring games for our projections, you and I,
yes, sir,
for Seattle to win that division to come through.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.